Hey, good morning, friends. Today is Monday, November the 25th, 2024, and the time now is 7:27 a.m. So, friends, the situation in Ukraine, or the situation between Ukraine and Russia, or the situation between Ukraine as led by the United States and the West against Russia, continues to spiral out of control. And there are many who are predicting the possibility of an all-out confrontation between Russia and Europe, or Russia and the West, led by the United States. Now, friends, about a week now, the United States President Joe Biden authorizes Ukraine to use long-range missiles into Russia. Basically, Ukraine was authorized by the United States to strike Russia or strike into Russia using US-made long-range missile or longer-range missiles, however you want to say it. Ukraine did not waste time. Within 2 days, Ukraine attacked Russia or strike into Russia using the US-based and also British-made missiles. Now, friends, in the world today, especially following the election of Donald Trump, there is a phrase that is being used and it is trending crazy. The phrase is tremendously trending and it is FAAFO. That is fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Friends, the phrase is being used all over the world and has gained support or attention on social media. It is being used crazily on social media, especially by people who are trolling one another. And so much so the case with the whole situation following the United States presidential election, where people in the United States are trolling one another about the election result and especially about what Donald Trump is doing or what he could be doing when he finally come back into office. And people are trolling one another using the phrase FAAFO. Now, friends, I cannot say for sure whether the FAAFO phrase is relevant in terms of the context relating to the situation between Ukraine and the West against Russia. Yes, Ukraine struck Russia using British and American-made missiles. And last week, Russia retaliated against Ukraine using an intermediate-range ballistic missiles, or IRBM. And so far, it is sending chills around the world and even in Europe or throughout the West. It is said that this missile is also capable of delivering nuclear warhead. Basically, friends, the Russians used the missiles against Ukraine conventionally and did not deliver any nuclear warhead. Now, prominent scholars, experts, and many around the world who have been paying attention to the situation between Ukraine and Russia or Ukraine and the West against Russia are also commenting on the situation, are predicting the possibility of an all-out war between the West led by the United States and Russia. And many are predicting the possibility of the situation continuing to spiral out of control into an all-out war, a nuclear war. Now, I don't think the situation is going to lead to an all-out nuclear war. And even though there are warmongers in the West and in the United States who want to go to war against Russia, I do believe that when common sense take hold, there will not be a war between Russia and the United States and the West. Once again, friends, I'm going to repeat. As much as that there are warmongers in the United States and throughout the West who want to go to war against Russia and in the future against China, I do believe that when common sense take hold of the situation in Europe, in Ukraine, and throughout the world, that we may not see a possible war between the United States and NATO or Europe against Russia. And the reason for this is that, yes, they have anticipated a weak Russia, and it has become evident that Russia is not as weak as the West has anticipated or as the West has predicted. In this case, Russia does have escalatory dominance, and Russia does have a capability that continues Okay, the Russians continue to prove their capability. In this case, the United States and the West going to war against Russia, going to engage in a war against Russia, a war in which Russia did not attack first. It's going to be a bad thing for the United States and for NATO or the West. And this is because when Americans or Western citizens, young men, begin to return home in body bags, the citizenry of the West is going to go ballistic against their government, which in this case, we could begin to see radical governments in the West or Western governments becoming more radical as a means to suppress the opposition of the people, the people's protest, to call out the Western government for their stupidity, for going into a war in which the enemy did not attack first. Now, in the United States, there is a crisis of recruitment in the military where many young men are either not fit to join the military or there are lots of things, factors relating to their inability to become member or members to join the military. We are seeing that throughout the West. Western militaries have proven to the rest of the world that they are not as powerful as they've propagated themselves to be. In fact, many can say that Western militaries are only powerful enough to suppress and occupy a weak, powerless country in the global south, especially in places such as Africa, where there is no security and the government is either weak and cannot protect the people. So in that case, Western military can just go in and do whatever they want. But they cannot, and they are not in a position, and they are not strong enough to sustain a conventional war against Russia, especially in a war in which the Russians did not attack first. But to give it a try, to allow or to accept what people have been saying in terms of the phrase FAAFO. Perhaps Russia's retaliation may have created a scenario, an FAAFO scenario for the West. Perhaps we can say that the West did fuck around with Russia and find out. But friends, just to repeat once again, last week, Joe Biden authorized Ukraine to use long-range or longer-range missiles against Russia, firing into Russia, which Ukraine did within 2 days. And the Russians retaliated with a powerful ballistic/hypersonic missiles, which is capable of delivering nuclear warhead. And this is sending chill throughout the spine of many people around the world. Now, perhaps this retaliation by the Russians may have established deterrence with the United States and the West, or perhaps the West and the United States may continue to basically fuel the fire between them and Russia to escalate and more escalate so that they can finally get what they want, a war with Russia. But whatever the case may be, I'm going to tell you again, the situation in Europe between Russia and Ukraine, or Ukraine and the West against Russia, continues to spiral out of control. For many of us in the global south, the best we can do is try to use all diplomatic means to prevent the situation from becoming an all-out war, which in this case could involve all of us. Because the truth here is, whenever white men fight against each other, they bring the rest of us into the war, which now it seems that many countries around the world are saying, we don't want to be part of it. We don't want no part of it. You're nonsense. I hope that continues. Now, friends, you are watching the playlist series, The Trends and Headlines in Geopolitics, and this is episode 23. Once again, friends, you are watching the playlist series, The Trends and Headlines in Geopolitics, and this is episode 23. I am going to end here, my friends. I want to thank you for being a member of the Echoing Voice community, but I want to thank you a lot for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace, my friends. Peace.